Part 24. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 231. The sky is blue, the fields are vast, the wind blows the grass and you can see the cattle and sheep. This should have been a magnificent scenery, but the loud horn sound, accompanied by the murderous aura of the Chinese cavalry, and the thunderous sound of iron hooves, echoed across this vast grassland. On the distant horizon, there are streaks of black smoke rising into the sky. The burning royal court of the Huns in the distance, under the setting sun, is like the last lament of the Huns. The Yanzhao cavalry equipped with stirrups trampled through the wolf flags one after another, like wolves and tigers, crisscrossing the grassland, arrows like rain, and swords shining like snow. The knights and horses from all over the world followed closely behind, tightly surrounding the Xiongnu royal court like a pack of wolves, not allowing any Xiongnu to escape from the encirclement. Beheading a Hun man can be exchanged for 100 acres of grassland. This is a huge temptation for rangers from all over the world. If they have made great achievements and made a wife, they can trade the Hun head for it. In addition to the rangers, there were also a large number of armed nobles and landlords galloping on the grassland, setting fire to the Huns' tents one by one. From Handan to Jinyang, and then to inside and outside Yanmen Pass, the noble and landlord class of Zhao state almost collectively participated in this feast. King Zhao's uncles, and relatives of the concubines and concubines in the harem all participated. In these years, the private soldiers of these nobles were like savage beasts on the grassland, unscrupulously, worse than the Huns, and let the Huns hope changes color. Kill all the men, but the women can stay. The roars of the private soldiers of the nobles and landlords were earth-shattering. Farther away, there was a caravan consisting only of four-wheeled carriages. The awning carriages of the business group were like long worms on the grassland ground, winding for dozens of miles. Those caravans are like vultures on the grassland. They do not participate in the fight, but only participate in the scavenging feast behind them. Groups of caravans and carriages came carrying the army's food and baggage, and left full of trade quotas for wool and woolen cloth. As long as the merchants' carriages went, various situations on the grassland would change. Keep coming together. The warriors of the Xiongnu clan are making their final resistance in the core area of the royal court. This resistance symbolizes the final dignity of the Xiongnu clan. Tumen Chanyu could have chosen to break out of the encirclement, but Tumen Chanyu was reeling, tired, and didn't want to run anymore. Tumen Chanyu was the alpha wolf among the wolves, not a bereaved dog on the grassland. Before, Tumen Chanyu's royal court was in Linkhung. Then, Li Mu and Xiaoping'an came with their cavalry. Tumen Chanyu's royal court was forced to move from Liangcheng to Wuliangsuhe. Then, Tumen Chanyu's royal court was moved to Wuliangsuhe. The royal court moved from Wuliangsuhe to Hangei Mountain in Mobei. 7 years ago, Tumen Chanyu's royal court moved again from Hangei Mountain to the current Bogdo. 3 years ago, Tumen Chanyu moved here from Bogdo. All the way north. In less than 20 years, Tumen Chanyu was forced to move to the royal court 4 times. He was chased east and west on the grassland by Yan and Zhao's cavalry. He lived a precarious life at any time. The once ambitious Tumen Chanyu became during the migration of the royal court. He gradually became older, with more and more white hair on his head. The Shanyu's once majestic body became rickety, and the Xiongnu tribe on the grassland became fewer and fewer. The fiercest battle broke out at the location of the Huns' royal court. The arrows of the cavalry from both sides flew across the sky like pieces of locusts. Arrows and arrows will collide together in the air. Only the bone arrows of the Huns were no longer able to penetrate the armor of their enemy cavalry. Zhao's cavalry were each wearing 5 layers of double-layer iron bamboo wood chips soaked into oil, plus linen, soft silk, and sheepskin. Made of cavalry armor, this cavalry armor is very light and has enough protective power to block the Huns' bone arrows. On the other hand, the Huns fought the same way their ancestors and fathers fought. They did not have that kind of armor and relied only on flesh and blood. Under the rain of arrows from the Zhao cavalry, the Huns guarding the royal court of the Huns, one by one the soldier fell to the ground, the grass soaked in blood. On a hilltop not far from the royal court, silk flags were fluttering. A big flag with the character Li and a big flag with the character Xia stood here, fluttering in the wind. Behind the mountain bag, 10,000 Zhao's elite cavalry served as a reserve team, ready and silent as thunder, ready to pounce at any time. On the hilltop, Xia Ping'an and Li Mu, who were wearing armor, each rode on a horse, looking at the Huns' royal court with flames in the distance. A bunch of generals stood behind them, holding their breath, not daring to disturb the two people in front. Conversation. Before we encircled us, Tumandan had time to escape. He did not escape, but chose to stay. Li Mu pointed at the royal court in the distance with his riding crop and sighed, he didn't want to run away. He must be tired too. Xia Ping'an smiled and looked away from the surrounding environment. Looking at the terrain here, it is a bit like the Halaolan area at the northern foot of Hang'e Mountain in Outer Mongolia. I guess he can see it too. Yes, we let him go deliberately the first 2 times. Only he can gather the wandering Huns tribes. Wherever he escapes, it will be convenient for us to clean up. It is easier to eliminate, and it is better if the garbage is gathered together. Clean. After this battle, the Xiongnu should be wiped out. Li Mu sighed. It should be almost done. The tribes that didn't run away have been almost wiped out. The ones that did run away, let them cause harm to others. Xia Ping'an also took a long breath. It will take many years to fully digest such a vast grassland. Well, this grassland needs people to garrison. The general is now the general of Zhao state, and he is a very popular minister. I think the general does not need to return to Handan anymore, so he can stay. It may not be a blessing for the general to return to Handan. Li Mu suddenly turned his head and looked at Xia Ping'an. Xia Ping'an and Li Mu looked at each other calmly. Li Mu suddenly smiled and said, my lifelong wish is to pacify the Huns. Now that the Huns are at peace, my wish is fulfilled. I can retire and return home at any time. Well, what are your plans? Xia Ping'an sighed, glanced at the collapse of the largest flagpole in the Huns' palace in the distance, and shook his head slightly, I'm afraid I have to leave too. Not long after, Xia Ping'an saw a group of cavalry rushing towards here from the direction of the Huns' royal court. A fierce general at the front held up a bloody head with one hand and shouted along the way, Tumen Shanyu already beheaded, Tumen Shanyu has been beheaded. The whole grassland was boiling. Seeing the bloody head, the remaining Huns warriors collapsed. Some people fled in all directions, and some people gave up resistance completely and were beheaded in the blink of an eye. The cavalry team quickly rushed to the hill here. The general holding the head got off his horse, walked quickly to Xia Ping'an and Li Mu, knelt down on one knee, raised the head in his hand, report General and Prime Minister Yan, Tumen Shanyu has been beheaded. This is Tumen Shanyu's head. Please take a look at it. After the Zhao state destroyed Dai became an important vassal and guard place for the Zhao state. Dai Xiang was the highest administrative and military officer of Dai. In recent years, as the Zhao state continued to expand its territory outside Yanmen Pass, there were successive major after defeating the Huns. The wool cloth brought huge wealth to the Zhao state. In order to restrain Li Mu and win over Xia Ping'an, the king of Zhao followed the local practice and appointed Xia Ping'an as the prime minister of Yan, who could nominally rule the land north of Yanmen Pass. Xia Ping'an's powers overlapped a lot with Li Mu's. King Zhao originally wanted the two tigers to fight each other and check and balance each other. He thought it was a brilliant move, but he didn't know that the two were both comrades in arms and confidants. The position of prime minister was not considered at all. For Xia Ping'an, this status was just to facilitate his dealings with the nobles of Handan, Zhao state. In the northern part of the Zhao kingdom, Li Mu and Xia Ping'an were the most powerful people in the country, and their reputations were famous in all countries. Outside the pass, their reputations could even scare the Huns. As long as Lizuki and Xiaozuki appeared on the grassland, can make the Xiongnu tribe within 100 miles on the grassland flee. In order to ensure safety, those caravans traveling to and from the grasslands planted Li and Xia flags on both sides of their carriages to deter the Huns. That bloody old head had no aesthetic value at all. Xia Pinggan looked at Tumen Shanyu's head and was about to say something when he saw the whole world shatter into light rain at this moment. Everything in the world bead was in a trance, like a long dream. After a moment, the surging divine power began to wash Xia Pinggan's body. Washed by the impact of that divine power, Xia Pinggan felt as if his body had broken through another ceiling and reached a new level. The divine power in the secret mandala directly broke through the Yang realm. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 232. Xia Pinggan's consciousness is immersed in the changes in the secret mandala. The upper limit of divine power in the caisson in the sky of the temple increased sharply by 188 points, from the previous 1,437 points to 1,625 points. In terms of divine power, as expected, he has met the conditions for advancing to the Yang realm. During his stay in the capital, Xia Pinggan's divine power was not consumed much. Coupled with the natural recovery every month, his divine power at the moment was basically full. The biggest change is not the increase in divine power, but other changes that have taken place in the secret mandala. In the northwest of the secret mandala village, Xia Pinggan just saw a building that had not appeared in the secret mandala before. It was a barracks. The barracks was a bit like the Yanmen camp in Yanmen Pass. It was also built on two sides. It occupies a vast area in the valley in the middle of the mountain. In the center of the barracks, there is a huge bronze relief. The scene on the relief is the scene of Xia Pinggan and Li Mu riding through the Han royal court with their cavalry. The cavalry on the relief are lifelike. The knights are wearing armor and holding bows. Holding spears and knives, galloping war horses, standing on both feet, majestic and high-spirited, the Huns on the reliefs are either running like wolves or rats, or their faces are full of fear. This is the first relief that appears outside the temple. This relief has a ray of light that shines into the temple, complementing the mountain of golden characters in the temple and directly igniting the word Iron Cavalry. Just now Xia Pinggan was stunned in the secret mandala for a long time before summoning a cavalry in relief. A cavalry consumes 18 points of divine power. When the cavalry in the relief stepped out of the brilliant relief on horseback, their majestic appearance made Xia Pinggan's eyes light up. The summoned cavalry was wearing armor, carrying a strong bow on its back, a quiver on the saddle, and a long spear in its hand, full of evil spirit. Xia Pinggan's eyes only lingered on the cavalry for a moment, and the attributes of the cavalry appeared in front of Xia Pinggan. In the secret mandala, the character will have attributes, which means that the character can be summoned in large numbers and is not unique. Summoned character, Storm Cavalry Elite Level. Consumption of Divine Power, 18. Life, 140. Wisdom, 75. Force, 62. Skills, 1 Death Assault, 2 Mounted Shooting. 3 Trample. Talent, Light of Life. Plane arrival time, 720 minutes. The Storm Cavalry is the strongest cavalry that Yanzhao Man's World Pearl can summon, but the Storm Cavalry he summoned has the word Elite Level added, which seems to be a little different. For a summoner, the attributes of the characters he summons are secrets that only he can know. Few summoners will make the attributes of the characters they summon public, so Xia Pinggan does not know that other summoners can summon them. What are the attributes of the Storm Cavalry? However, he felt that the Storm Cavalry he summoned should be stronger than those summoned by other summoners. Just when Xia Pinggan had just summoned the Storm Cavalry, Kang Ji appeared at the entrance of the new barracks. With a wave of his jade pen, he wrote the words Storm Cavalry Camp on the gate of the barracks. Xiaopingan directly consumed 180 points of divine power and summoned 10 storm cavalry. Because it was late at night outside, it was also late at night in the secret mandala. There was no sun in the sky and everything was quiet. The farmers and alchemists had all rested. As soon as the 10 storm cavalry were summoned, they rode out of the camp and disappeared into the darkness. Automatically went on patrol. Previously, the patrols in the secret mandala were all slave soldiers, but now with the addition of the storm cavalry, Xiaopingan could finally summon a decent regular army. Xiaopingan, who was in the underground secret room, suddenly opened his eyes. It was pitch black in the secret room, but for the summoner, he could still see clearly in the darkness. The reward for this world pearl from the Yanzhou man is indeed too generous. Xiaopingan said to himself, then took out his pocket watch and looked at it. The time now is only 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, and there is still plenty of time. Xiaopingan came out of the basement and came above. The small courtyard was quiet, with only a few crickets chirping in the garden. The woman slept in the guest room, the door was closed tightly, and she was already asleep. Xiaopingan went directly to the bathroom. The bathroom in the courtyard is very clean. There is a beautiful bathtub covered with horse teeth. The hot water pipe in the bathtub is connected to the gas in the kitchen. You can use the gas to heat hot water for bathing. For people like Xiaopingan, it doesn't matter if they take a bath with hot or cold water. Xiaopingan put in a pool of cold water. Then he took out the divine spring from Air Yang realm and poured it into the water. After the full pool of cold water was poured into the divine spring of Air Yang realm, it became steamy, like a hot spring emerging from the ground. The water in the bath also turned light green. Xiaopingan took off his clothes and soaked in the pool. The feeling could only be described as comfortable. Wave after wave of energy and heat penetrated into Xiaopingan's body from the water. It was warm and the entire secret mandala was bathed in a faint green light. The second sun was slowly condensing. Xiaopingan closed his eyes, savoring the changes in his body and the secret mandala, and the fatigue in his body and mind disappeared. Finally officially advanced to the Air Yang realm. For summoners, the second sun realm is an important watershed. Even in the world of Yuan Kaiu, many summoners in this world have only been preparing to be summoners and wandering around the One Yang realm all their lives. Summoners in the Two Yang realm can already make many low-level summons in the group of summoners. The masters that the teacher looked up to and feared were the leaders of the bounty hunters that Sun Hao brought to deal with him last time. They were 2 summoners from the Air Yang realm who were not very powerful. The most powerful summoner that most ordinary people in this world can come into contact with in their lifetime is the summoner of the Air Yang realm. If you want to advance to the 3 Yang realm, your secret mandala's divine power must exceed 2,520 points. There's a long way to go. Every time you advance to a higher level in the future, the difficulty will become more and more difficult. But as long as he has the boundary pearl, he should be able to steadily break through to the 6 Yang realm. After taking a bath, Xiaopingan went back to his room to sleep. He slept until he woke up naturally. The sun shone on the bed from outside the window, making it warm. When he opened his eyes were filled with bright sunshine. Xiaopingan got up, got dressed, and finished washing. Afterwards, he slowly walked to the kitchen humming a song and made breakfast for himself. Xiaopingan made himself a bowl of noodles, and made soup with mushrooms, shrimps, scallops, and beef bones. He fried eggs, blanched some vegetables, and fried pork belly with sauce and kitchen spices. There are ice cellars and ice rooms in the kitchens of these wealthy families. Xiaopingan had found time to buy some kitchen ingredients in the city and put them in the ice rooms. It was also very convenient to make breakfast. Needless to say, Xiaopingan's cooking skills were developed by taking care of Xiaoning for many years. Cooking in the kitchen is a way for Xiaopingan to rest and relax. Of course, he must be in a good mood before he can think about it. Xiaoping'an was in a good mood after just entering the Yang realm. Since arriving in Shangjing City, it has been a long time since Xiaoping'an made anything by himself. Today is the first time Xiaoping'an did it. The noodles are cooked, then poured with thick soup, the red shrimps and golden shellfish are arranged neatly, a fried golden egg is placed in the middle, like the sun outside, and a few green vegetables blanched in boiling water are like clouds. Put them next to the eggs in the same way, and then top them with the fragrant meat noodles. In an instant, a large bowl of noodles is overflowing with fragrance, full of color, flavor, and taste. The noodles are pleasing to the eye and full of desire to eat. They are placed in Xiaoping'an's bowl. Front. Xiaoping'an looked at his masterpiece with satisfaction, took off his apron, and was about to take out the noodles to enjoy. Then, at this moment, he heard the sound of someone sucking saliva. When Xiaoping'an looked up, he saw the little girl with a fluffy head standing outside the kitchen, staring at the bowl of noodles he had cooked and sucking saliva. It seems that Cao girl didn't sleep well last night. There are still 2 dark circles under her eyes at this moment, but this does not hinder Cao girl from appreciating and judging food. The aroma coming from the kitchen is so tempting. Gilug, gilug. Xiaoping'an faintly heard the growl of the grass girl's stomach. By the way, this girl probably didn't have dinner last night. What's on the table? It looks nice. Cao asked knowingly, staring straight at the bowl of noodles, sucking saliva, walking like a sleepwalker, and headed straight towards the kitchen. Oh, no, he was walking towards the bowl of noodles cooked by Xiaoping'an. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 233. Well, it's delicious, it's delicious, it's so delicious, Ben, the girl has never eaten such delicious noodles. In the restaurant, Xiaoping'an cooked a large bowl of noodles. He ate half of it himself, and the rest was hastily eaten. Not only was the noodles finished, not even a drop of the soup in the noodles was left. Xiaoping'an just watched the grass girl eating his noodles. For some reason, although the grass girl looked like she was gobbling up the noodles, she didn't feel vulgar and disrespectful. Instead, she felt frank and natural, even something elegant. What a hell! Xiaoping'an murmured in his heart, trying to find an explanation for himself. Maybe he thought of Xiaoning when he saw her. Is there anything else? He raised his head hastily, with that angelic and beautiful face, looking at Xiaoping'an eagerly, and blinked cutely. No more. Under the careless gaze, Xiaoping'an also put the last noodle in his bowl into his mouth, then picked up the bowl and drank the last bit of soup without mercy. By the way, you didn't seem to sleep well last night. Are you not used to it here? Xiaoping'an asked after finishing the soup, putting down his bowl. I didn't know yesterday whether you were unreliable or a bad person, so I didn't dare to sleep last night, and even pushed up the door of the guest room. Cao nodded matter-of-factly and said, now it seems, you should not be a bad person, and bad people should not be able to make such delicious noodles. Xiaoping'an was speechless. What's the logic of this? Forget it, never mind, this girl is being watched, she probably won't stay here for long. Remember, wash the dishes and chopsticks. Xiaoping'an said to Cao. What, you want me to wash the dishes? Cao pointed to his nose, raised his eyebrows, and glared at Xiaoping'an. Xiaoping'an glared back with a higher tone, have you ever seen a chef wash dishes? There is no reason to eat other people's food for free. If you eat the noodles I cooked, you have to wash the dishes. Washing 2 dishes is considered an advantage for you. Now, if you dare to eat out for a meal, if you encounter a vicious person, they will arrest you and wash the dishes for a month. They also have to wash and mop the floor. They might even sell you to a mountain nook and let you go. Give birth to someone else's child. Oh, just wash it, why are you so fierce? Cao's momentum suddenly faded. Wash the dishes and chopsticks and put them in the kitchen where they are installed, Xiaoping'an said before leaving the restaurant. Only. Xiaoping'an had just walked out of the room a few steps when he heard a clang from behind him. It was the sound of a bowl falling to the ground and breaking. Xiaoping'an turned around and saw Cao sticking out his tongue and looking at himself awkwardly. For the sake of those gold coins, forget it. I'm going out for a trip. If you want to leave, remember to lock the door. Xiaoping'an gave a hasty explanation and asked He Long to look at his home. Then he came to the door, took away today's newspaper, walked out of the alley, and came to the street outside. After waiting for a while, he called a taxi and asked the carriage to go directly to Tianyuan Bridge. The atmosphere in Beijing today is not as tense as yesterday. There are a lot fewer checkpoints on the street, but police can still be seen everywhere on the street, especially when passing by the gate of the Judicial Army camp. You can see the Judicial Army's the camp was not as peaceful as before. From time to time, black carriages came in and out of the camp. Looking at the newspaper in hand, the entire front page of the newspaper, as well as other pages, are all about the great changes that happened yesterday. The headline on the front page of the newspaper is "The Judgment Army Destroys the Blood Demon Sect in Bihaiport and the Capital City." Paired with this title is a photo of a huge, twisted warship. The warship in the photo is twisted and half of it emerges from the sea, and the visual effect is extremely amazing, as if it has experienced an apocalyptic change. Xiaoping'an carefully read the news. The news recorded the Blood Demon cult rebellion that occurred in Bihaiport yesterday. According to the way the news was written, the Blood Demon cult naturally had pus on its head and sores on its feet. It actually wanted to attack Bihaiport. Assassinated many guests participating in the launching ceremony of the warship, and also carried out terrorist attacks among the onlookers. However, because the adjudication army responded appropriately, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince strategized and commanded well, discovered in time and dealt with decisively, the conspiracy and terrorist activities of the Blood Demon cult were quickly crushed. Did not allow the Blood Demon cult to cause greater damage. At the same time, the adjudication army followed the clues and identified many hidden members of the Blood Demon sect in Shangjing City, destroyed the conspiracy network operated by the Blood Demon sect in Shangjing City, and effectively maintained the good environment of the Great Shang Kingdom and Shangjing City. Please citizens, don't panic. If you report any clues, you can get as many rewards as you want. Looking at the twisted warship in the newspaper again, Xiaoping'an was slightly shocked. It was really hard for him to imagine what kind of power could twist a warship like that. On the carriage, Xiaoping'an carefully collected the newspaper and put it in his space warehouse. He felt that the distorted photo of the warship in the newspaper could be kept to remind him that the summoner still had a long way to go. There are countless strong people, and he still has a long way to go. It is best to guard against arrogance and impetuosity, and not to be complacent about the achievements in front of you. The wheels of the carriage were turning. An hour later, Xiaoping'an finally arrived at Tianyuan Bridge. Soon, he saw the dentistry man who met him yesterday again. "Mr. Xia, I ran around all day yesterday. After some hard work, the landlord finally agreed. If I lower the price by 600 gold coins, the yard will be sold for 43,000 gold coins. It cannot be lowered. This is the final price. The landlord requires cash and a one-time payment. It is best to complete all transaction procedures within 3 days." After talking for a day and saving 600 gold coins, Xiaoping'an felt that it was quite worth it. "Okay, thank you very much. I won't give you a cent for the commission. You can sign the contract and go through the formalities today." The procedures for trading real estate were a bit cumbersome. Xiaoping'an stayed in Tianyuan Bridge for almost a day. In the meantime, he followed Yaran to the Real Estate Management Bureau and Justice Office in the capital city. After completing the final procedures and handing over, most of the day passed like this. Xiaopinggan was quite happy to finally have a place that truly belonged to him in Shangjing City. The yard he bought in Tianyuan Bridge is indeed good. The yard is right on the bank of Tianyuan River. It faces the street and is very open. It can be opened for business, or it can be modified as a front hall to receive guests. There is a shop outside the yard. The square is also convenient for parking carriages. The stone road outside the shop is lined with peach trees on both sides. In the courtyard, there are small bridges and flowing water, and bamboos are planted. There is an attic and a two-entry courtyard, which is very nice. On Earth, this yard would probably be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I got the keys to the yard, changed the locks, found a carpenter to order a plaque, and in one day, it was gone. It will take at least 7 or 8 days for the yard to be renovated and renovated. When Xiaopinggan returned to Changle Lane, it was completely dark and he found that his door was locked. The careless girl had already left. She must have really run away. Xiaopinggan didn't bother to care anymore. Thinking that he had almost no time to eat all day and was hungry, Xiaopinggan returned to the kitchen and started to work. When he was cooking himself a bowl of noodles again, there was another knock on the door outside the yard. After taking a look, it was still the careless girl standing outside the door. Xiaopinggan patted his forehead helplessly. Why was this female donor back? Xiaopinggan came to the door, opened it, and asked helplessly, "Didn't you leave?" "Humph, don't think I don't know. I gave you so much money that you can stay in the best hotels for many days. If I only stay here for one day, wouldn't it be a loss? I think you are a pretty good person. So I decided to live here for the next few days," Miss Cao said. Suddenly her nose moved, she took a breath, then looked towards the kitchen, her eyes shining. "What smells so good?" Xiaopinggan's expression changed, and he quickly turned around and ran towards the kitchen. Unexpectedly, the hastily speed was not slow, and he followed Xiaopinggan towards the kitchen. After a while, there was a flurry of excitement in the kitchen. "This is mine." This was Xiaopinggan's voice. "My." This was the voice of Kaoko girl, with a fierce voice. "I am hungry, and I have paid. Let me go quickly. If you don't let me go, I will bite someone." "You go cook it yourself." "Oh my, you actually bite." Snort. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 234. Crackling, crackling. 2 strings of firecrackers, several meters long, exploded at the door, causing flames to splash and red flowers to cover the ground. This huge movement attracted pedestrians on the street to stop and stare. Xiaopinggan, who was wearing a blue robe and was elegant, stood at the door, in the eyes of the people around him, bowing to the people around him, smiling broadly. After the firecrackers exploded and people gathered around him, Xiaopinggan took out a few copper coins and sprinkled them among the red paper scraps on the ground at the door according to the custom in the capital city. Many children on the street came over to grab them. So unhappy, and then Xiaopinggan pulled down the red rope around him and unveiled the sign. The black plaque has 3 large characters Zhou Gonglu that shine golden in the sun, which is quite impressive. With the unveiling of the signboard, the couplets on both sides of the door were also removed. There were 10 characters on the left and right sides of the door. When combined, they meant that there would be dreams at night, and the spirits foretell good and bad luck. The Huangliangwu Gorge matter cannot be solved except this. Ah, it turns out to be a dream fortune teller. Those onlookers saw the couplet and understood immediately. Ha ha ha, this dream fortune teller is so brave. This place is not far from Master Shuiyu's Wuya building. He actually dares to open another one in Tianyuan Bridge. Aren't he afraid of losing business? I heard that the owner of this yard has changed a few days ago. Can you take care of the owner, whether he is rich or not? The people watching were talking a lot. Boss, how much does it cost to take advantage of men here? Someone from the crowd of onlookers asked loudly. Xiaoping'an didn't speak, just coughed twice and winked behind him. The CAO girl who had been excitedly waiting to appear immediately took out a sign and placed it at the door. There were also 8 characters on the sign. One dream brings 100 gold, and there will be no counter-offering. The onlookers were instantly in an uproar, and everyone was stunned. Are you crazy? 100 gold coins can be used to interpret a dream. Master Shuiyu's interpretation of a dream is only 30 gold coins. This person asks himself, is he more powerful than Master Shuiyu? There is no dream interpreter in Shangjing City who charges such an expensive price. This man is definitely a liar. Xiaoping'an cupped his hands toward the outside, without saying any more explanations, and returned directly with CAO inside. The inside of Zhougong building was rebuilt with pavements. There is a marble entrance hall and green plants at the door. You bypass the entrance hall and then go to the outer hall. There are tables in the outer hall and a place for receiving people to drink tea, chat and read. After passing the outer hall, you can reach the outer hall. Go to the inner hall, which is in the courtyard. It is private and quiet, with a lot of bamboos planted around it. It is very stylish. The layout is a bit like a high-end medical clinic for treating patients. Today is May 28. Nearly 2 weeks have passed since the Battle of Bihai Port of the Blood Demon section. During these 2 weeks, Xiaoping'an bought the yard in Tianyuan Bridge, renovated it, and added new additions. After some furniture, it has a new look today and is officially open for business. A few days ago, the yard was being renovated and someone was keeping an eye on it. Xiaoping'an felt that it was too time-consuming and delayed his cultivation of the fusion world pearl. In addition, he had another domineering female tenant in Changle Lane who was a beggar. Xiaoping'an, based on the principle of making the best use of everything, handed over some work to CAO and asked CAO to keep an eye on the decoration of the yard. Unexpectedly, CAO was very interested in this job. When she heard about the job that Xiaoping'an had arranged for her, she was very excited. She took the job without hesitation and started to work seriously for Xiaoping'an. CAO looks carefree and inexperienced, but since someone is secretly watching to protect CAO, Xiaoping'an doesn't have to worry about CAO's safety. In this way, 2 weeks later, the careless girl had unknowingly mixed up with Xiaoping'an and became Xiaoping'an's assistant. Zhougonglu opened today. NACAO looked even more excited than Xiaoping'an. He got up before dawn and put on makeup. Today he was wearing a green dress, like a hibiscus in the pond, standing slim and lively. Tell me, is 100 gold coins too expensive for one dream interpretation? What if no one comes? When the two came to the inner hall, they said hastily to Xiaoping'an, with a worried tone, here in the capital, many people come. You may not be able to earn 100 gold coins every year, right? Kaoko didn't seem to have much idea about gold coins before, but it was only during the time she was with Xiaoping'an that she seemed to slowly understand how much a gold coin was worth. Is it expensive to interpret a dream for 100 gold coins? It is indeed very expensive for ordinary people, but for rich people, it is worth it as long as they can really predict good or bad luck. Master Shuiyu's three-legged cat's level of dream interpretation and nonsense is also very popular in the capital city. On the surface, a dream interpretation only costs 30 gold coins, but in fact, the cost of those who ask Master Shuiyu to interpret their dreams is far more. More than 30 gold coins. I am a disciple of Duke Zhou, a master of ancient Chinese dream interpretation culture. In ancient times, it would be more than enough for someone like me to be a dream fortune teller in the palace. I will give you a dream interpretation for 100 gold coins. If you are lucky, just steal it. Have fun. Moreover, these 100 gold coins can be used to interpret a dream once, which is the best advertisement. There will definitely be people who can't help but want to try it. Zhou Gonglu's dream interpretation is an absolutely high-end one, even more advanced than Master Shui Yu. Xiaoping'an's goal is to make himself the first person to interpret dreams in the capital city and even the Great Shang Kingdom. 100 gold coins is just the beginning. After you have completely gained a reputation, 1000 gold coins will not be a big problem to interpret a dream once. Of course, there is no need to say these words hastily. If you think it's expensive, then don't ask for your bonus. I can also give customers a discount of 1 gold coin. In fact, if it's 99 gold coins, there may be more people coming. Xiaoping'an was like a black-hearted boss, directly talking to said hastily. How dare you, Cao glared at Xiaoping'an with his hands on his hips. You said before that I would receive guests here for you, and every guest would give me a gold coin. Are you lying? This is my job, and work is about earning money. Money, don't think I don't understand. Haha, you understand so well. Miss Kaoko, pay attention to your attitude. You are now the clerk of Zhou Gonglu, and I am the shopkeeper. Can the clerk talk to the shopkeeper like this? Xiaoping'an said. Cao's attitude suddenly softened, but he still pouted, I don't care. In short, my money cannot be less than a copper coin. If you dare to deduct my salary, be careful that I will not end it with you. Okay, not even a copper coin is yours. I'll ask you again, do you know what to do? Huh, of course I know. When the guests come, let them wait in the outer hall and chat with them for a while. When I get to the inner hall, if I see the black dragon barking, you will be in seclusion in the basement. If you don't want to be disturbed, I will pull you in. Ring the rope bell to remind you, and then come out and ask the guests outside to wait for a while. If the black dragon does not call, you can bring the guests in and let you interpret the dream. If there are too many guests, give them a number and let them line up. It's so simple, I'll understand it as soon as you say it. Not bad, not too stupid. Speaking of brand names, Cao seemed to have thought of something again, and asked again with some confusion, by the way, why did you only prepare 3 brands? Why don't you prepare more? What if there are too many guests? The less something is, the more precious it is. The more difficult it is to get, the more cherished it is. If you want to make money, you have to study the psychology of your customers. If you are willing to spend 100 gold coins to interpret a dream, you must make him feel respectable. Is different. If you are like Master Shui Yu, you will be inferior. From now on, I will only interpret dreams for 3 people a day. From now on, you will be in charge of those 3 brands, and you can give them to whoever you want. You are optimistic. Well, it won't be long before there will be a lot of people who want to curry favor with you, and a number plate that allows me to interpret dreams can be sold for hundreds of gold coins outside. Cao looked at Xiaoping'an with suspicion. You are really good at interpreting dreams. Why do I feel like you are here to defraud money? Xiaoping'an glared at Cao. Okay, remember to bring them to the inner hall in the yard when someone comes, and I'll leave this place to you. After saying that, Xiaoping'an just left it here, left the outer hall alone, and returned to the courtyard. The inner hall was quite quiet, and the black dragon was guarding here. Xiaoping'an knew that no one would come for a while, so he simply entered the basement and started to fuse the world beads. These days, Xiaoping'an has not been idle. He has successively purchased and fused some unfused boundary beads in the night market of Tianyuan Kiao. At this moment, the divine power in Xiaoping'an's secret mandala is already 2,117 points. In a few days, Xiaoping'an will be able to steadily advance to the 3 Yang realm. Golden Summoner. Author, Zyu. Chapter 235. Xiaoping'an's fusion world pearl's advancement speed is simply appalling. When walking to the basement, Xiaoping'an estimated that in half a month at most, he would be able to officially advance to the Three Yang realm. However, in the past half month, as more and more world beads have been fused, new problems have gradually arisen. That is, Xiaoping'an discovered that he could buy relatively cheap ones at Tianyuan Qiao Night Vision and had not fused them himself. World beads are becoming less and less. Yes, there are only so many common world beads, and the number is fixed. The more you fuse, the fewer you will encounter that can be fused. Even if some boundary beads have not been fused, the price is too exaggerated. Even if Xiaoping'an knows how to fuse, after calculation, a boundary pearl that often costs thousands or even tens of thousands of gold coins is not cost-effective. Not only that, Xiaoping'an discovered that after the battle to wipe out the Blood Demon sect in the capital on the 15th, everything seemed calm in the capital. However, the prices of the boundary beads sold in the Tianyuan Qiao night market were slowly increasing unknowingly. In just half a month, the prices of the beads were slowly increasing. The prices of the world beads in the night market, whether they are in shops or those set up by bounty hunters, have increased by more than 20%. The price of jizu is rising, and the daily necessities of rice, flour, grain, and oil in Shangjing City have also seen some slight fluctuations in the past half month, but they are not obvious yet. According to the newspaper, the reason for the increase in the price of the G-Pearl is that the northern border of the Great Shang Kingdom is somewhat unstable. Several large tribes of the northern Demon Wolf clan are showing signs of migrating south. Some groups and organizations that have smelled the rumors have begun to hoard the G-Pearl beads. This is an old routine. As long as there is trouble and the situation becomes tense, some people will start hoarding world beads, rice, and grain and other items. According to some bounty hunters in the night market, in the past month, for unknown reasons, the number of monsters appearing in the sea and underground outside Shangjing City has begun to decrease. Once the number of these monsters decreases, they appear on the market. The number of beads began to decrease, and the price naturally began to rise. The bounty hunters don't know why the number of monsters appearing in the open sea and underground has decreased, because this situation is very abnormal and is not something that can be encountered often. Anyway, something seems wrong. Xiaoping'an keenly felt the undercurrent in the calm situation in Shangjing City. When he came to the basement and sat cross-legged, Xiaoping'an took out a boundary bead that shone with lavender brilliance. There are 4 small seal characters in the boundary bead, 7 steps into a poetry. This boundary bead was bought at the night market Xiaoping'an yesterday for more than 800 gold coins. The person selling the boundary bead said that this boundary bead is a magic skill boundary bead. The so-called divine skill world bead is a world bead that allows the summoner to master certain special skills after fusion. The divine skill world bead will not allow the summoner to expand new careers, nor will it allow the summoner to whatever characters and spells are summoned, will only allow the summoner to master certain special skills that can be cast with divine power. This world bead is called the Buletin Lotus world bead among the summoner community. After the fusion is successful, the skill it gives to the summoner is a lotus step that can be performed with divine power, one step at a time, whether it is used for fighting or used to run away at critical moments and dodge various attacks. They are all first-class powerful skills. Without the cooperation of the Divine Mind Crystal, the mortality rate of fusing this world bead is more than 90%. However, the Divine Mind Crystal of this world bead is very rare, so the world bead is sold so cheaply. After bleeding, Xiaoping'an was quickly wrapped in a cocoon of light and entered the world of the boundary pearl. As soon as Xiaoping'an opened his eyes, he saw that he was in a large hall, surrounded by strong guards who were eyeing him eagerly. A man wearing a dragon robe, an emperor's crown on his head, an eagle nose and a wolf's eyes, and a somewhat sinister face was sitting on the throne, staring at him coldly. Several eunuchs in the hall also quietly looked at him with their peripheral vision, looking at him with a complicated expression. The hall was quiet, the atmosphere was depressing, and murderous intent was undercurrent. Fourth brother, everyone in the world says that in our CAO family, apart from my father, among our brothers, you are the most talented in the world. The man sitting on the throne spoke, with a malicious look on his face. He smiled and said, I haven't heard my fourth brother compose a poem for a long time. How about today, my fourth brother composes a poem for me with the title Brothers in this Hall. With my fourth brother's talent, I want to write a poem for me. It must not take too long, just within 7 steps. If the fourth brother's poem is good, I will reward him. If it is not good, it means that the fourth brother does not take me as the eldest brother in his eyes and shows disdain. Writing poems for me is a crime of deceiving the emperor, so I have no choice but to let my fourth brother walk on the sword and axe platform. Xiaoping'an looked up at the hateful-looking Cao Pai and sighed secretly in his heart. This Cao Pai, in order to inherit Cao's legacy, started killing his own brothers just after Cao's death. He was unscrupulous. When Cao Ang was alive, this Cao Pai had absolutely no hope of inheriting Cao's great cause, and he didn't dare to have any ideas. But as soon as Cao Ang died, this Cao Pai popped up. After Cao Ang died that year, Cao Chong was Cao's favorite son. Then Cao Chong died inexplicably. Now Cao Pai wants to kill himself, force Cao Xiong to hang himself, and seize Cao Zhang's military power. Next year, in order to show his generosity, Cao Pai will kill Cao Zhang. The year after that, Cao Zhangui came to Luoyang again to see Cao Pai. Later, Cao Zhang, who had been brave and strong since he was a child and could fight with ferocious beasts, also suddenly contracted an illness and died suddenly inexplicably. To Luoyang. Cao Pai, this trash, killed all his brothers, thinking he could keep his position, but he didn't know that Sima Yi, the good friend he once tried his best to protect, was waiting for him to do this. In the end, Cao Pai just made a dowry for Sima Yi. Is Sima Yi encouraging Cao Pai to do whatever it takes to eliminate his brothers, and using Cao Pai's hand to eliminate the power of the Cao family? This question is probably only known to Cao Pai and Sima Yi. Cao was the prime minister of the Han dynasty, but he used the emperor to command the princes and took over the Han dynasty. But in the end, God gave Cao a son, Cao Pai. Awesome. Xiaoping'an estimated the distance between himself and Cao Pai, thinking about what would happen if he suddenly killed Cao Pai at this time. At this moment, I am only more than 10 steps away from Cao Pai. After walking up to Kibu, I am only less than 10 steps away from Cao Pai. If I suddenly get violent. Xiaoping'an thought about it in his mind, then looked at Cao's slender arms and legs, a scholar's body, and sighed, forget it, the reward for changing history is indeed tempting, but this time the risk is too great, and the benefits are not. Okay, maybe it will hang up, but it is better to seek stability. Your Majesty has an order, and Cao must obey it. Xiaoping'an shook his head, took a step forward, and began to compose a poem. Lang Lang's voice resounded throughout the hall. Boil the beans and hold them to make soup, and strain the bean sprouts to make juice. The bean seeds are burning under the cauldron, and the beans are weeping in the cauldron. They all grow from the same root, so why fry each other in a hurry? One step at a time, 6 lines of poetry are completed, and the 7th step is completed. The outer hall of Zhougong building looked like the front desk here. He put his chin with his hands and looked eagerly at the entrance in front, almost drowsy from looking at it, but still no one showed up. It was almost noon, and just when Cao's stomach growled and he began to miss Xiaoping'an's craftsmanship, thinking that no one would come, a man in his 30s with a resolute face and noble temperament wearing casual clothes held a hand. Holding a folding fan, accompanied by an old man in blue, he calmly came in from behind the screen. The man who walked in was none other than Baitang Xuanhuan, the crown prince of the great Shang kingdom. When Cao saw Baitang Xuanhuan, a look of surprise and guilt appeared on his face. He turned his head and glanced at the inner hall. He quickly walked over from behind the table and whispered, "Brother, why are you here?" Baitang Xuanhuan looked at everything in the room, and then focused on Kaoko's face. "I heard from my aunt that you were not in the palace these days, and you ran out and caused mischief again, so come and have a look." He stuck out his tongue hastily, and then pushed Baitang Xuanhuan toward the door unceremoniously. "I'm not fooling around. I've found a job now. Brother, please leave quickly and don't affect my work." Baitang Xuanhuan stood still, like a stone, and just smiled and said, "I am also a customer who comes to your door. You are working here. There is no reason to push the customers who come to your door out. You are not afraid that I will come to you? Is the shopkeeper suing you? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 236. Hearing Baitang Xuanhuan say that he was a customer, Cao could only give him a helpless look and put his hands on his hips. "Okay, you are a customer. One time for dream interpretation is 100 gold coins, which is not more than a copper plate. Bring me the money." 100 gold coins. Baitang Xuanhuan smiled slightly. Even 1,000,000 gold coins was nothing more to him. He casually took out a 100 gold coin gold ticket and handed it to Cao. "Can I go in now?" He hastily accepted the golden ticket, and did not forget to warn Baitang Xuanhuan, "If you act recklessly, I will tell my father that you bullied me. Don't worry, I'm just going to tell a dream. There are too many liars among dream tellers in the capital. Many people only have some skills in dream interpretation, and they go around pretending to be dream tellers. I'll just take a look at this. Is the shopkeeper of Zhougonglu a liar? You wait here. I'll go inside and take a look first. I can call you again," he said hastily, put away the golden ticket, and walked towards the inner hall. After a while, he walked out hastily. "Okay, follow me. Let me do it, it's just you." Baitang Xuanhuan smiled and asked the person following him to stay in the outer hall. He then walked hastily to the inner hall, passed through a door and a corridor, and came to a small attic in the bamboo forest. He saw Xiaopingan. The 7 Steps to Poetry World bead provided Xiaopingan with 30 points of divine power. There are 30 words in the 7-step poem, and each word has 1 magical power. After the fusion just now, Xiaopingan silently experienced the step-by-step lotus in the attic. Skills. The magic of this divine skill world bead is that once it is fused, Xiaopingan can activate this footwork skill with divine power. This skill seems to be an auxiliary skill for summoners to fight and escape. Just now Xiaopingan was silently he tried it in the yard, and found out that this skill actually allowed him to step on the lotus leaves in the yard and walk as fast as he could, making him feel as if he were in heaven. It was really useful. Xiaopingan originally thought that no one would come to ask for dreams today, but unexpectedly, business would actually come to his door early this morning. Sitting behind the desk, looking at Baitang Xuanhuan walking behind Cao, Xiaopingan blinked. The face of Cao was vaguely similar to that of Baitang Xuanhuan, especially their noses, which were tall and straight. It's like he was printed from the same mold. This man is older than Cao, so he can't be Cao's eldest brother. If he had a sister who ran away from home for half a month for no apparent reason, he would probably go and see her, right? Xiaopingan felt enlightened. Compared to Xiaopingan, the moment he saw Xiaopingan, Baitang Xuanhuan's eyes flashed, and the shock in his heart was even more indescribable. Of course, someone would investigate who Cao has been with these days. The royal family of the Great Shang Kingdom could not allow a person of unknown origin to approach the princess. However, the people who went to investigate below could not find out where this Yang Chen was coming from. From any previous information in Beijing, I only know that this Yang Chen seems to be not short of money. I rented a yard in Changle Lane near Pingshan before. Yang Chen is not deliberately approaching Kaoko, but Kaoko is deliberately approaching Yang Chen, and Kaoko is deliberately approaching this Yang Chen these days. It was quite fun to be with him, and there was nothing wrong with Yang Chen. Today I heard that Yang Chen actually claims to be a dream fortune teller and has opened a dream fortune teller. Baitang Wangchuan happened to go out of the palace to do business this morning and visited the home of a sick minister. When he came back and passed by Tianyuan Bridge, he couldn't help but I want to see who this man who has tidied up everything is. As soon as he saw Xiaoping'an, Baitang Wangchuan's eye of truth skill was passively activated. He could see at a glance that Yang Chen was wearing a Ruyi mask on his face, and the face under the mask was not the same as before. Who is Xiaoping'an who joined the Judgment Army? Xiaoping'an made a great contribution last time and saved himself once. These days, the Judgment Army is also looking for Xiaoping'an everywhere in the capital, but this time Xiaoping'an seems to have disappeared. Baitang Wangchuan even thought that Xiaoping'an had escaped. When I went to the capital, I didn't expect that this guy suddenly transformed and became a dream fortune teller again. Interesting, interesting. Seeing Xiaoping'an's real face under the mask, Baitang Wangchuan's face remained calm, but his eyes became deeper. Does this young master want to dream? Please sit down. Xiaoping'an made an invitation gesture and asked Baitang Wangchuan to sit down opposite the table in front of him. He closed the door hastily and left. Before leaving, he warned Baitang Wangchuan with his eyes, telling Baitang Wangchuan not to cause trouble. Xiaoping'an noticed the look in Cao's warning to Baitang Wangchuan, and became even more certain about the relationship between Baitang Wangchuan and Cao. Cao and this man should be brother and sister. A curl of sandalwood was burning in the room, which was quite quiet and atmospheric. Just when Xiaoping'an was about to ask Baitang Wangchuan what dream he wanted to apprehend, the god of fortune boy himself jumped out of Xiaoping'an's secret mandala. Jumping to the table in front of the two of them, a puppet mask appeared on the boy's face. The boy took off his mask, pointed at Xiaoping'an, pointed at his own eyes, and pointed at Baitang Wangchuan, making some gestures. Xiaoping'an was also stunned. What did the fortune god boy mean that the man opposite had seen through the mask on his face and knew his true face? How can it be? Then, the god of fortune boy wrote the three words Crown Prince in the void with his hand in front of Xiaoping'an. Holy shit! If this man is the Crown Prince, then wouldn't Cao be the princess of the Great Shang Kingdom? Baitang Wangchuan didn't notice at all that the god of fortune boy appeared in front of him and had already leaked his background to Xiaoping'an. Xiaoping'an was smart, and when he looked at Baitang Wangchuan, Xiaoping'an's eyes became profound. The two people looked at each other in the room for more than 10 seconds. You looked at me and I looked at you. The atmosphere was a little strange. Finally, Xiaoping'an broke the silence with a sudden thought and asked, pretending not to know anything. Is this young man trying to interpret dreams? Yes, I'm here today just to divine dreams, Baitang Wangchuan also said. Why is it so much more expensive to divine dreams here than in other places? There are many famous dream fortune tellers in Shangjing City who can divine dreams once. It's only a few dozen gold coins, but you're asking for 100 dreams at a time. Why? This is a good question, young master. I am a dream teller, naturally relying on my ability. Since the young master is the first customer of Zhougong Tower, I will tell the young master's dream once for free. The young master can take back the 100 gold coins, Xiaoping'an said, took out the 100 gold coin gold ticket, put it on the table, and pushed it over. Baitang Wang Chuan laughed, haha, as long as you get it right, this 100 gold coins is nothing, I can give you 10,000 gold coins. Okay, then please tell me the dream you want to possess, and I will capture it for you, Xiaoping'an said. Baitang Wang Chuan's face became a little more serious, and after thinking for a while, he said, I had a dream the day before yesterday. I saw the army was defeated. I was among the defeated army, and there were raging flames around me, burning my body. I don't know what this dream was. Good or bad. Let me act out the dream for you. Xiaoping'an pointed his finger at Baitang Wang Chuan's forehead, and the misty dream appeared in front of Xiaoping'an like a projection. In the dream, Xiaoping'an saw that the army was defeated like a mountain. Baitang Wang Chuan was wearing armor among the defeated army of the Great Shang Kingdom. He wanted to save the situation, but suddenly, Baitang Wang Chuan fell on the ground in front of him. A raging fire burned, and the fire began to burn Baitang Wang Chuan's body, burning Baitang Wang Chuan's body red, like a furnace, and in the fire, Baitang Wang Chuan didn't seem to feel anything. How painful it is. The weird thing about dreams is that everything in the dream does not appear logically, but is bizarre, just like this dream in Baitang Wang Chuan. I don't know how the army was defeated, but among the defeated army, there was someone beside him. A fire suddenly ignited, and it started without beginning or end. How? Baitang Wang Chuan asked. Young master, this dream is divided into two parts, both bad and good, Xiaoping'an said. How to say? When the army is defeated, it is a bad omen for the master. This is a bad omen, but the young master is burned in flames among the defeated army. This is a sign of help from noble people. I'm trying to flatter myself, but the dream of Baitang Wang Chuan does have such a meaning. Hearing what Xiaoping'an said, Baitang Wang Chuan's expression became more serious. Besides, what else does this dream portend? The master's dream was that the army was defeated for no reason. It happened completely out of the blue, and the master was involved in it as soon as he appeared. This means that the bad thing will also come suddenly, leaving the master unprepared, or it may be in the near future, or it may have already happened, and the master is still not found. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 237. People and cars were coming and going on the road outside Jiugong Tower. Just as Baitang Wang Chuan walked out of Jiugong Tower, a bronze carriage pulled by two white horses passed by. The person was originally in the carriage looking at the scenery on both sides of the street, but suddenly he saw Baitang Wang Chuan walking out of Jiugong Tower. The people in the car almost thought they were dazzled. Looking again, when they saw the old man following Baitang Wang Chuan, the people in the car were shocked. Baitang Wang Chuan's carriage was parked at the door of Jiugong Tower. It was a carriage pulled by two black horses. Baitang Wang Chuan frowned slightly and walked out of it, got on the carriage, and the carriage ran quickly on the road. Moved. The car pulls to the side of the road, stop, make way, and let the black carriage pass first. In the copper-colored carriage, the person sitting in the carriage ordered the driver. The copper-colored carriage slowed down and pulled to the side of the road, allowing Baitang Wang Chuan's black carriage to pass in front and drive past. When Baitang Wang Chuan's carriage drove past, the copper-colored carriage turned around and returned to the original route. When passing by Jiugonglu, the window curtains of the copper-colored carriage were opened. Behind the carriage window, the face of a pampered, white and fat middle-aged man in his 50s was revealed. The man squinted his eyes and looked at it again in surprise. Glancing at the facade of Jiugong Tower, I was surprised. The Crown Prince Baitang Wang Chuan actually came here to have his dreams, what the hell? However, the man in the car did not get off the carriage and just passed by on the road. In the carriage Baitang Wang Chuan was riding in, he was still frowning slightly. To be honest, he was doubtful about Xiaoping'an's dream interpretation. Xiaoping'an probably didn't know his identity, right? Or is Xiaoping'an using that dream to imply something and asking for credit? But even if it is a hint, this is not right. Dream predictions are about the future, not the past. Is Xiaoping'an just making up nonsense, or does he really have the ability to use dreams to reveal good and bad luck? Baitang Wangchuan is very clear about the methods of those dream fortune tellers in Shang capital city. It can be said that more than 90% of the dream fortune tellers in Shang capital city are basically liars, low-income people who are desperate and want to make a fortune. The trick of the first-level summoners and the deceptive method of those dream fortune tellers is to first buy the Dream Master World Bead and the corresponding Divine Sense Crystal at a high price, and after fusing the Dream Master World Bead to obtain the Dream Acting Technique, use the Dream Acting Technique. As a guise, he used the charlatan's rhetoric of observing words and fortune-telling to deceive people in the upper capital. These swindler dream fortune tellers are very popular in the upper capital and can often make huge profits. As long as they are eloquent, they can make back all the money they spent on the Dream Master World Beads and Divine Mind Crystals in less than 2 years, and there will be confusion in the future. It's time to eat. The person who just gave way to the side of the road was Gu Fengshen, the vice president of Dafang He has recognized His Highness. The old man following Baitang Wangchuan in the carriage said calmly. Gu Fengshen, Baitang Wangchuan finally freed himself from his thoughts in Zhougong Tower. Why did he come to Tianyuan Bridge? Dafang is responsible for managing the Bounty Hunter Guild and the Wandering Summoners in Shangjing City. Gu Fengshen also likes to collect spiritual crystals and rare treasures in the Demon Dragon Palace. I heard that he often goes to Pengguan Auction House to pick things. He comes here. It's not surprising that Tianyuan Kiao must have just come out of the auction house. Baitang Wangchuan nodded, but he was still thinking about what to do with Xiaoping'an. There is no doubt that Xiaoping'an is a talented person and a space traveler. He should be very useful, but it is not easy to control. Moreover, Xiaoping'an is related to Cao. When Cao grows up, he has never been so interested in other men. But, how can Xiaoping'an's current status be worthy of Cao? Or, Cao can completely tie Xiaoping'an, and then use Xiaoping'an to gather those skywalkers for my use. The Crown Prince's thoughts are already half king and half human, making it difficult to guess. Just as Baitang Wangchuan's carriage drove out of Tianyuan Bridge, a green bird suddenly flew from the sky, as fast as lightning. The coachman caught it, and then handed the kingfisher through the small hole in the front window of the carriage. Come in. The kingfisher flew into the carriage, landed on Baitang Wangchuan's hand, and spit out a small ball wrapped with runes and beeswax from its mouth. Baitang Wangchuan took the ball and crushed it. A note appeared in his hand, and the kingfisher instantly turned into light and disappeared. Seeing that small piece of paper, Baitang Wangchuan's entire expression changed. There is a line of words on the small note. More than 1,200 people in the 3rd Division of the 18th Garrison Army were infected with corpse poison and mutated. The headquarters of the 3rd Division has been completely sealed off. Wei Tianli, commander of the 18th Army Corps, and the Judgment Army headquarters have gone to deal with it. When he saw the words corpse poison, Baitang Wangchuan's hand holding the note couldn't help but tremble. Corpse poison is the most craziest method of the blood demon cult. Once an ordinary person is infected, he or she can become a blood demon zombie in a matter of seconds. They are bloodthirsty and will not recognize their relatives. Moreover, there is no cure for the corpse poison. Once infected, the only way to eliminate these zombies is to kill them. There is a way to go. This is the revenge of the blood demon cult. The blood demon cult has made a comeback and infected the garrison with corpse poison. This is a naked attack. If the corpse poison spreads in Shangjing City, the consequences will be disastrous. Baitang Wangchuan suddenly thought of what Xiaoping'an said when he told him his dream just now, but he didn't expect it to come true so quickly. Go back to the palace quickly. There was a sound coming from the carriage. The black carriage was still walking on the street, but a thick black fog filled the inside of the carriage. When the black fog disappeared, Baitang Wang Chuan and the old man who were originally sitting in the carriage, has disappeared instantly. In the carriage, under the nose of Baitang Wang Chuan, the child of the god of fortune, who had been hanging upside down like a bat in the carriage, spun around, and his head and feet fell on the seat in the car again. The child of the god of fortune blinked and got down. In a second, he disappeared from the carriage. A few seconds later, the god of fortune boy appeared in a military camp. The military camp was surrounded by mountains. It looked like it should be at Ayan, dozens of kilometers away from Shangjing City. There was chaos in the military camp. There are many corpses in military uniforms on the ground. Under the heavy machine gun fire, the bodies of the soldiers who rushed out of a barracks burst into clouds of blood. Some soldiers were shot in the body, but they still rushed forward as if they were not aware of the pain. Opened their bloody mouths, roaring ferociously, and some had their limbs broken by heavy machine gun bullets, and fell to the ground, still twisting, like zombies. The soldiers who rushed out of the barracks had blood-red eyes, stiff body joints, and weird twists. Mucus and minced meat were hanging from the corners of each soldier's mouth, and some were holding bloody intestines and human organs in their hands. Were rushing out of a barracks, and in that barracks, gunshots were everywhere, soldiers holding guns and soldiers eating people were fighting. That scene was like hell. The figure of the god of fortune passed through countless bullets and figures fighting to the death. A team of Judgment Army finally flied. In just an instant, countless fireballs flew out and fell on the soldiers with red eyes and twisted bodies who did not know the pain, turning those people into ashes. Amidst the fire and gunfire, 2 members of the Judgment Army rushed to the dining room and kitchen of the camp quickly, like lightning, and finally took out half a pot of soup from the dining room. The source of the corpse poison has been identified. The pot of soup in the soldiers' restaurant was poisoned. Instruct the entire legion to immediately inspect the food, water, and food reserves in all the canteens of the legion. No one is allowed to eat until the inspection is completed. A general from the Great Shang Kingdom roared outside the camp. It's already noon. I'm already hungry. Can I have something to eat? As a shopkeeper, you can't let your employees work hungry. He came to the inner hall hastily, touched his stomach with one hand, and seemed to Xiaoping'an said while closing his eyes to rest. At this moment, Xiaoping'an was also in shock. Because he had just seen all the pictures from the god of fortune. Unexpectedly, something happened to the 18 garrison regiments in Shangjing City. Corpse poison? There is no doubt that the blood demon cult is back. Damn it, this is not a safe place in the capital. Looking at the grass, Xiaoping'an stood up and thought for a while, how about we cook noodles? Kaoko suddenly became happy, swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and said with bright eyes, okay, I want to eat the crab roe noodles you made last time. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 238. On the first day that Zhu Gonglu opened, he only took one transaction and made 100 gold coins. Ordinary citizens probably don't know what happened in the military camp, but the entire atmosphere in Shangjing City suddenly became tense, because that night, when Xiaoping'an was buying boundary beads at the Tianyuan Qiao night market, he saw it in the night market a 5-man team of the Judgment Army on patrol. Unless there are special circumstances, the Judgment Army will generally not appear in urban areas easily. With the emergence of the Judgment Army, many people felt that the atmosphere in Shangjing City had changed. It was only on the second day that the news that someone in the garrison and Shangjing City was infected with corpse poison had spread throughout Shangjing City. People in Shangjing City began to panic. The news that the Blood Demon sect had returned and wanted to turn Shangjing City into a dead city. It began to spread in Shangjing City. As long as Xiaoping'an walked around the streets, he could hear people talking about these news everywhere in the wine shops and tea houses. On the second and third days, Xiaopingans Zhougonglu received no business for 2 consecutive days. However, Xiaopingan steadily advanced to the level again after fusing more than 10 boundary beads in these 2 days. 3 Yang Realm. On May 31st, early in the morning, Xiaopingan's Zhougong building had just opened its doors, and Xiaopingan welcomed the second guest of Zhougong building. He was a pampered, white, and fat middle-aged man in his 50s. Xiaopingan received him in the inner hall. "This gentleman is a bit unfamiliar, may I have your last name?" Xiaopingan asked with a smile. "My surname is Gu." The man carefully looked at Xiaopingan and left with a smile on his face, even a little humble, and then turned to look at Xiaopingan. "I passed by here today and saw the sign on Mr. S door, which is interesting, so I would like to ask you, sir, to have a dream try." This person knows CAO's identity. Looking at this man's expression, Xiaopingan understood. It was really strange. The 2 people who came to the door in succession actually recognized CAO. What kind of luck was this? Could it be that this man was called here by Baitang Wang Chuan? There are other purposes. Xiaopingan's mind was spinning, but he still asked, "I wonder what dream Mr. Gu wants to occupy. I had a dream yesterday. I dreamed that I was wearing a brand new brocade robe." "I don't know what this dream means," Gu Fengshen asked. "Well, wait until I act out the dream." As he spoke, Xiaopingan had already used his secret technique to evolve that person's dream. Watch it carefully. Dream fortune tellers do not necessarily need to use dream interpretation to predict dreams. As long as the person who comes to interpret dreams can explain their dreams clearly, but among the dream fortune tellers in Shangjing City, everyone is already accustomed to using dream interpretation to strengthen their dreams. As a symbol of one's own identity, those who come to dream interpretation also seem to feel at ease after seeing the dream interpretation technique, so gradually, this dream interpretation technique seems to have become the symbol of the dream fortune teller. Of course, for dream fortune tellers, another meaning of dream interpretation is that they can discover important details in dreams that are ignored by those who ask for dream interpretation. In the dream, the surrounding environment was a little blurry and there were masses of fog, but you could see the man in front of you wearing a brand new brocade robe. He looked at his brocade robe in the mist and was very happy. Xiaopingan waved his hand gently, and the dream disappeared. "Does Mr. Gu have any wives or concubines at home?" Xiaopingan asked. This question made Gu Fengshen's face change slightly, and he was a little embarrassed. "Ahem, I only have one wife in my family." Thinking of his wife, Gu Fengshen shuddered in his heart. His wife was one of the famous 3 tigers of Shangjing in the circle of Shangjing City. Even though she was very prestigious outside, she was considered to be in the court. He is a character, but when he gets home, he has to listen to his wife in everything. It is very normal for the head of a wealthy family in the capital city to have 3 wives and 4 concubines. The man in front of him can recognize people and spend 100 gold coins on a divination. He should be the kind of person who is not short of money, but such a person there is only one wife. If the 2 of them are not deeply in love, there is no room for a third person. This man's wife is probably the Lion of Hedong. She can take care of this man and make him obedient. I dare not think of anything wrong. But the dream of the man in front of me indicates that this man is not a one-and-done character, so there is only the second possibility. Xiaopingan's mind turned and a smile appeared on his face. In the past few days, Mr. Gu's virtuous wife will provide him with a room of concubines. Mr. Gu is blessed. The expression on Gu Fengshen's face didn't change much, but he was a little stunned in his heart. The tigress in his family wanted to take a concubine for him. Impossible, unless the sun rises from the west. This dreamer is talking nonsense. With this thought in his mind, Gu Fengshen didn't say it out loud. He just smiled, thanked him, and left. When he walked out of Zhougong Tower, Gu Fengshen was still wondering if he had made a mistake. The crown prince came here just to see his sister, not to interpret dreams. I heard that Princess Wanju often runs out of the palace and likes to mess around outside the palace. I have seen it today. It's just that Yang Cheng doesn't know what ability he has. He can actually let Princess Wanju be his assistant here. Or maybe this is the Zhougonglu. Princess Wanju drove it to play by herself. Gu Fengshen thought to himself and got on the carriage. As soon as he got on the carriage, a carriage stopped in front of Zhougonglu. The door of the carriage opened. Shopkeeper Lan of Wuvaizai, who was wearing a purple robe, got off the carriage. He raised his head and took a look at the sect of Zhougonglu, his eyes twitching. After 2 pauses and a deep breath, he straightened his chest and stepped into Zhougong Tower. The inner hall of Duke Zhou's building. Do you know that person just now? Xiaoping'an asked Cao deliberately. Kaoko suddenly seemed a little nervous. No way, who is he, how do I know? I think the way he looks at you is a little strange, Xiaoping'an asked, rubbing his chin. Isn't that kind of greasy uncle's expression when he sees a beautiful girl like me? He's so disgusting. Cao stuck out his tongue. Okay, this is your commission. Xiaoping'an threw a gold coin to Cao. He hastily took the gold coins given by Xiaoping'an and returned to the outer hall in a somewhat depressed tone. Really, there is no sense of accomplishment at all. Cao complained in his heart. At this moment, Cao, who had just returned to the outer hall, suddenly saw someone he didn't recognize coming behind the entrance. Cao's eyes lit up. He was finally able to earn a gold coin openly and openly. Cao came over and asked with a smile, is this gentleman here to interpret dreams? The beauty of Cao dazzled Lan Wuivai for a moment. Lan Wuivai said in his heart, that guy Xiaoping'an turned out to be a womanizer. When he got money, he hid his beauty in the golden house in the capital. This guy really knows how to enjoy it? Yes, I am here to interpret dreams, Lan Wuivai said. Mr. Yang happens to be still inside. Sir, please come with me. He hastily took Lan Wuivai to the inner hall. Seeing Lan Wuivai, Xiaoping'an knew that His Royal Highness the Crown Prince had indeed sent someone to come. The person who left just now must have happened by chance. This person was the real owner. If His Highness the Crown Prince had not given any orders, he would have been in the capital city. The chance of meeting this person is almost negligible. He hastily closed the door and left. Looking at Lan Wuivai, who was staring at him with a burning gaze, Xiaoping'an smiled bitterly and directly took off the Ruyi mask on his face, revealing his true face. Shopkeeper Lan, long time no see. Lan Wuivai smiled bitterly and said with fake enthusiasm, you should contact me. I thought something happened to you. If something happens to you, I am also responsible. Ahem, there has been no news about the Blood Demon sect from my side recently. I planned to change my identity and lurk in Shangjing City, but I didn't expect that I was still discovered by Shopkeeper Lan. Really? I knew you were the most dedicated and conscientious person. The adults above did not misjudge you. This is my duty as a shadow guard. The two men were hypocritically polite, both pretending that Xiaoping'an had never left the shadow guard from the beginning to the end. Xiaoping'an never asked Lan Wuivai how he knew he was hiding here. Lan Wuivai also never mentioned Xiaoping'an's disappearance after his last mission. Between his words, Lan Wuivai seemed to be a little flattering to Xiaoping'an. After a few awkward conversations, the two parties seemed less awkward and the atmosphere relaxed a lot. Lan Wuivai finally revealed his purpose. Last time the Blood Demon cult assassinated His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, the information you provided made a great contribution. The adults above are very satisfied with it and will reward you. Oh, how about a reward? Xiaoping'an knew that a meaty show was coming. Ahem, in view of your previous achievements, Mr. Lin Yi decided to promote you to the position of inspector. I would like to congratulate Mr. Inspector here and wish you a bright future. Speaking of Xiaoping's new position, Lan Wuwei said he became a little jealous, and his tone became a little more respectful. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 239. Many things in the world take unexpected turns. When Xiaoping thought he would no longer be in contact with the Judgment Army and was preparing to become a self-employed business, he unexpectedly received a large gift package from the Judgment Army. Of course, this gift package did not come from the Judgment Army, but came from the intention of the Crown Prince Baitang Wangchuan. It was Baitang Wangchuan who wanted to bring him back to the Judgment Army and entrust him with important tasks. However, he was just a minor figure in the Judgment Army. Baitang Wangchuan had never seen him before. He recognized himself when he saw him for the first time that day. The most likely thing is that he already knew his identity in the Judgment Army. At the same time, he also found out from the Blood Demon cult that he was a sky traveler and was being hunted by the Blood Demon cult. While knowing the details of his identity, he also needs to promote himself. The intention behind this appointment is intriguing. Inspector, if I remember correctly, this position in the adjudication army is the rank of Black Bishop. When Lan Wuwei saw that Xiaoping was not too excited, he continued to explain, the police station's previous arrest warrant for you has been revoked. You are now a free man and can resume your normal activities in public. Don't worry, sir. Unknowingly, Lan Wuwei started to call Lord Xiaoping. In the Great Shang Kingdom and the Judgment Army, the title Sir is only enjoyed by those who have reached a certain level, at least the level of Black Bishop. The position of Black Bishop is still above that of Bishop. If it is not in Shangjing City, the Black Bishop is equivalent to the highest person in charge of the Dark God of War Church at the ordinary city level. His previous religious title in the Dark God of War was Acolyte, but now he has been promoted to 3 levels in a row, directly surpassing the 2 levels of Priest and Bishop, and became a Black Bishop. Judging from Lan Wuwei's words, he still doesn't know that he is a Skycrosser and is being hunted by the Blood Demon cult. The only people who know that he is a Skycrosser are Baitang Wangchuan and the top brass of the Judgment Army. After thinking for a moment, Xiaoping spoke slowly, let me ask, what is my specific responsibility as an inspector? The inspection by the Donggang Inspection Office in Shangjing City caused the fusion of the World Pearl to fail 2 days ago and was seriously injured. There is no one to preside over the Donggang Inspection Office. If Your Excellency takes office, he will preside over the Donggang Inspection Office, Lan Wuwei said. Sir, these two must be. Tian has already heard a lot of news in Shangjing City. The Blood Demon sect has made a comeback, causing trouble in Shangjing City and spreading corpse poison. People in Shangjing City are now in panic. It is the time to decide on military personnel, so please don't refuse. Does this mean I'm quitting the Shadow Guard? Ahem, wasn't the identity of the Shadow Guard exposed last time? This time, it turns from darkness to light. Xiaoping was silent, still thinking and hesitant. Shangjing City's Donggang has always been prosperous, with a mixture of fish and dragons. The chief officer of the Donggang Inspection Office is a vacancy. In that position, in addition to enjoying the training resources provided by the Judgment Army, you have to have everything you need, in addition to gold coins. And some scarce cultivation resources are also easy to obtain. To be honest, even if your Lord's Zhougong building is full of people every day, it can't be compared with the inspector's job. Damn it, did Baitang Wangchuan know that he wanted to make money, so he actually arranged such a lucrative job for himself? Your Excellency, you can think about it. If you think about it well, you can take up the post at the Donggang Inspectorate at any time. By the way, this is the reward you received last time for providing information, as well as your inspector's token and uniform. Lan Wubai said, and with a move of his hand, he placed a large box in front of Xiaopinggan. After putting these things down, Lan Wubai resigned happily. After Lan Wubai left, Xiaopinggan put on his Ruyi mask again before opening the box. The box was divided into 2 layers. On the top layer was a golden token for the inspector of the Judgment Army. Under the token, there were gold tickets worth 50,000 gold coins. This reward is generous enough. If you are an ordinary person, you can already buy a house in Shangjing City and live a good life with this reward. The bottom compartment of the box contains the robes of the Black Bishop, as well as an exquisite magic weapon cane that symbolizes the authority of the Black Bishop. Looking at those things, Xiaopinggan rubbed his nose. Baitang Wangchuan not only entrusted himself with an important task, but also gave him the space to choose. This is interesting. I wonder what will happen to him next if he chooses to refuse. What to face? Ah, what is this? CAO's voice came from outside the door. As soon as CAO entered the inner hall, she saw the box on Xiaopinggan's table. She walked over to take a look, picked up the inspector's token, and his face was blank. This is CAO, I forgot to tell you that my identity is a member of the Judgment Army's Shadow Guard, and now I have a new job. Xiaopinggan smiled, and had already made a decision in his heart. He has expressed his identity as the one, then, he will lean against the big tree to enjoy the shade, and the most important thing is to use the big tree of the Judgment Army and the Great Shang Kingdom to quickly expand his strength. Anyway, he is in the same lineage as the dominant demon god. They are sworn enemies. By weakening and attacking the Blood Demon sect, they are trying to gain more survival opportunities and space for the space travelers from Earth. However, the business of dream fortune tellers in Zhugonglu has just begun, and it would be a pity to give up. Well, in the future, I will let people who want to come to dream divination need to make an appointment in advance before arranging dream divination. This will make me look more qualified and more in line with my identity. A dream divination master like me is not just a casual person. You can pay to see it, but you need to make an appointment. Anyway, it won't take long to interpret dreams for 3 people at a time. Zhugonglu has just opened its doors a few days ago, so you don't want to be a dream teller anymore, CAO asked a little disappointed and annoyed. She thought Baitang Wangchuan didn't want her to continue making nonsense outside, so Yang Chen was the adjudication army reused him and placed him in a new position. In fact, the reason behind this was more complicated than she imagined. Of course the Zhugong building is open, why not? But if you want to come to dream telling in the future, you need to queue up to make an appointment. If 3 places are reserved, I will find time to come here to dream telling for people. Then what should I do? CAO pouted, don't you want me to stay here alone all day guarding this empty house? Wouldn't that be boring to death? Xiaopinggan spread his hands, it's easy. I'll hire someone to guard here and register the guests who come to make appointments for dream fortune telling. There will be 3 people at a time. When the number of people is enough, let me know and I will arrange the time. Just let them come here to interpret their dreams, and then you can continue to be my assistant. This is the method that Xiaopinggan came up with. Just like using a bamboo cage to catch fish, you just put the bamboo cage in the water and wait for the fish to get into the cage before harvesting it. This is quite simple. Hearing this, he clapped his hands and laughed again, that's right, that's right. Let's do it like this. We'll come back when the guests come to make an appointment. This way, we don't have to stay here all day. I don't think you need to hire anyone anymore. I'll be here next to you. There are several maids, I will choose a smarter one and let her look after the store here and treat her as working for me, what do you think? Xiaopinggan smiled slightly, that's the best. He said this, But what Xiaopingan was thinking in his heart was that in this way, the princess would be a partner of Zhou Gonglu. It would be interesting to open a store with the princess. However, Xiaopingan also saw that Kaoko just likes to play. She has a girlish nature. She thinks this is new and wants to try it. She doesn't have any bad intentions. When she gets bored, she may want to try other things, so she will let it go. I didn't expect you to become the inspector of the Judgment Army. When are you going to take office? It won't be today. He picked up the token and looked at it, then asked directly. Listening to CAO's tone, I just felt that the inspectors of the Judgment Army were just petty officials. They seemed to be capable of doing anything and there was nothing special about them. The Blood Demon sect may be causing trouble in the capital these days. The corpse poison is making people panic, and many people may die. I am going to take office tomorrow and do my little bit. Oh, you should say so. If you can save people, it is indeed more important than telling people's dreams. He nodded curtly and sensibly. Well, before you go to take office tomorrow, can I ask you something? What's up? Cao then licked his lips, and his beautiful eyes began to shine again. Before you leave, can you make me another meal like the Buddha jumping over the wall you made last time? I'll be watching from the side. Don't worry, I won't kill you. The secret recipe for cooking is passed on to others. I helped out for several days and earned these 2 gold coins. You should compensate me, but it's not too much. Okay. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 240. His Majesty has completed his western tour and will return to the capital soon. Yesterday, corpse poison was found in Zi town, Shangjing City. 4 members of a family were infected. The adjudication army has dealt with it in time. The Shangjing City Police Department reminds you that if you find a suspicious person, report it in time to receive a reward of up to 10,000 gold coins. The black taxi was running happily on the street. Pedestrians were hurrying on the street. The carriages and horses hiding under the shed in ponchos wiped the rain from their faces and continued to drive the carriage. The rain outside the window kept falling. Raindrops hit the car windows. The entire Shangjing city was shrouded in misty rain and fog, and the sky was a leaden gray. Xiaopingan was sitting in the carriage. His face was not wearing a Ruyi mask, but had returned to its original appearance. He was wearing a black robe. He was reading the newspaper he received in the morning, tapping the car window with his fingers, and his head was running rapidly. Today is the 2nd day, June 1st. Today's heavy rain seems to herald the arrival of the rainy season in Beijing. After meeting with Lan Wuwei yesterday, Xiaopingan directly threw the key to Zhougong building to Cao. Early this morning, Xiaopingan was going to take up his post at the Donggang Supervision Office. The affairs of Zhougong building were completely left to Cao. These days, there have been 4 or 5 corpse poisoning incidents published in newspapers. However, except for the garrison incident, in the other corpse poisoning incidents, there were not many people poisoned, ranging from 1 or 2 people to 7, 8 people, and these corpse poisons were put down by the ruling army without causing much impact. But even so, the whole city of Shangjing was still in panic. The people who were poisoned by the corpse poison have been turned into ashes, but the members of the blood demon cult who administered the poison have not been found, and there are no clues available. No wonder the people in the capital are a little frightened. To be honest, Xiaopingan sympathizes with the Judgment Army and Baitang Wangchuan, because in a prosperous city like Shangjing, it is too easy to hide a few people in the city. The current situation is that the enemy is in darkness and we are in the clear. The Judgment Army wants to. It's really not an easy task to catch people out. Ordinary people need to face each other to apply poison, but for a summoner who masters more serious techniques, as long as he has corpse poison in his hand, it is too easy to harm people, and he can do it without anyone noticing. The people who were exposed to corpse poison in the newspapers had absolutely nothing in common or any overlap. Some people took a small rail train home from get off work and were infected when they got home, and some people were infected from the virus. Some people get infected after coming back from the vegetable market, some people get infected at home without going anywhere, and some people get infected after eating a meal in a street restaurant. How to check this? For the Great Zhou Kingdom and the Judgment Army, discovering the hidden members of the Blood Demon sect is more difficult than killing and eliminating the members of the Blood Demon sect who have already appeared. Perhaps this is one of the reasons why Baitang Wangchuan promoted him. After all, he had a brilliant record before. Xiaopinggan even suspected that Baitang Wangchuan might have guessed that he had successfully integrated the Thousand Fantasy Boy World Pearl. But what he didn't expect was that what he summoned was not the Xuanhuan boy, but the God of Fortune boy. The emperor of the Great Shang Kingdom was Baitang Zhaotian. He had not been in Shangjing during his previous western tour. Everything in Shangjing was presided over by Baitang Wangchuan. Xiaopinggan was not sure whether Baitang Zhaotian returned to Shangjing this time because of Shangjing. The situation facing Beijing was dangerous, but the newspapers in Shangjing placed the news of Baitang Zhaotian's return to Shangjing in the most eye-catching place, which undoubtedly had the effect of calming people's hearts and warning them. By the time Xiaopinggan read the newspaper in the taxi had already arrived in Donggang District, Shangjing City. Yes, this Donggang District is an area on the east side of Shangjing City by the sea. The docks and other things are here. Xiaopinggan is not unfamiliar with Donggang District, and can even be called familiar. Donggang District is very wealthy, but there are also many poor people. The daily flow of people and goods here is a huge amount, a mixture of good and bad. The entire Donggang District was shrouded in rain and fog. The carriage came directly to Poseidon Avenue in Donggang District and stopped outside the gate of a 3-story, simple granite building. "Sir, the place has arrived." The carriage driver got out of the car, held up an umbrella, and then opened the door of the carriage. "Thank you." Xiaopinggan also held up his black umbrella. When he got off the bus, he gave the driver an extra silver coin for the fare. Finally, with the driver's thanks, Xiaopinggan walked directly towards the building on the roadside. As he walked toward the building, the driver took one look at the pure copper sign hanging outside the building and hurried away. Outside the wrought iron gate of that building, there was only one line of words on the bronze plate hanging: Adjudication Army Donggang Inspection Office. The raindrops falling from the sky washed the signboard exceptionally brightly, and the blue granite of the building became darker in color after being soaked by the rain. The gate here is open. Inside the gate is a yard. There is a spacious lawn and a fountain in the yard. Behind the fountain are stairs to the upper floors of the building. Xiaopinggan did not see anyone standing guard, just in the concierge next to the gate. There was a gray-haired old man and a dog, drowsing in the concierge. The inspection office of the Judgment Army is an important place, with a higher status than the Donggang police station. It is impossible to be as lax as it seems. Xiaopinggan glanced at the old man in the concierge and found that the dog next to the old man was a real dog, not a summoned object. The dog was lying on the ground and sleeping soundly. The aura of the old man was a bit strange, it seemed to be from the Yang realm. But it's not like that. In front of the old man, there is a lamp lit on the table in the concierge. When he steps into the door, the light of the lamp starts to dance. The sleepy old man raised his head, and Xiaopinggan discovered that one of the old man's eyes was blind, and the remaining one was also more than 100 years old and looked a little weird. When the old man raised his head to look at himself, Xiaopinggan felt that the trajectory of the raindrops falling in the sky began to change, seeming to turn into a trap. Under the headlight, there were faint symbols under the granite ground under his feet. Literary law fluctuates. Interesting. The rune spell in the underground is a spell that draws the ground to form a prison. It is about to be activated. The raindrops on the head change the trajectory. It should be used to cast the snare spell with water. The various summoning spells of the summoner are not static. Some summoner spells are not static. Some changes will occur as the summoner's ability and divine power improve, his understanding deepens, his proficiency increases, or it blends with other spells. For example, when summoning a snare, ordinary summoners use divine power to summon the snare. However, some summoners can give the snare water or fire 5-element abilities when summoning the snare. Water-type snares are like this today. In the heavy rain, with the bonus of heavy rain and weather, the same divine power is exerted, making it more difficult to deal with and break out of than an ordinary snare, and it has a stronger ability to restrain certain creatures. The old man in the concierge should be able to use water to cast the snare summoning technique. Xiaopingan actually has this ability. Xiaopingan didn't say anything, he just took out his inspector's token and flashed it towards the old man. In an instant, the trajectory of the raindrops in the sky seemed to return to normal, and there was no difference at all on the ground. The sleepy old man suddenly became energetic, stopped sleeping, and kicked the sleeping dog directly. A dog ran out of the concierge. The dog ran very fast, but the old man was limping, not caring about the raindrops hitting him. The dog wagged its tail, and the old man showed a humble and flattering smile to Xiaopingan, revealing a mouth of smoky yellow teeth. "Master Inspector, I didn't expect that you came to take office today. You are neglecting me." "I am neglecting you. Just go and call them down to greet the Lord." "No, I'll go by myself. By the way, what's your name?" "Are you alert?" Xiaopingan looked at the old man and found that besides being blind in one eye, the old man had 2 prosthetic legs. No wonder he walked a little awkwardly. "Sir, just call me Luo Liao. I am the concierge of the Donggang Inspectorate. I work here to earn a living." "Okay, you go about your business and I can go up by myself." "Is it the 2nd floor?" "Well, it's on the 2nd floor. You can enter just by pushing the door." Xiaopingan walked towards the stairs behind the fountain, and walked up to the stairs. When Xiaopingan turned around, he could still see Luo Liao and his dog still standing humbly in the rain to see him off. He waved his hand, and Luo Liao he took his dog with him and went back to the concierge to take a nap. Arriving at the heavy copper-clad solid wood door at the entrance to the 2nd floor, Xiaopingan put the umbrella into his space equipment and pushed the door open. Behind the door is a long walkway with a thick red carpet on the wooden floor. Various paintings and artworks are hung on both sides of the walls here. It looks very stylish, like a museum-like. In front of the corridor is a front hall. Behind a marble front desk, there is a beautiful woman in her 20s wearing glasses. Seeing this woman, Xiaopingan feels that the world is too small. Because of this, the woman was Wei Miu, the beautiful mathematician who went to the Dashang Library in Beijing. Wei Miu is wearing a light green women's top, with a white and black lace shirt underneath, and a pair of grey trousers underneath with high heels, which is elegant and pleasing to the eye. Wei Miu would actually be here, which was somewhat beyond Xiaopingan's expectation. Xiaopingan's steps were light and he was walking on the street stalls, so he walked to the front desk. Wei Miu, who had been writing something with her head down, did not notice someone arriving. "Sir, may I ask you, it's you, why are you here?" Seeing Xiaopingan coming, Wei Miu stood up from behind the table. She was about to ask Xiaopingan what happened, but suddenly then he recognized Xiaopingan. How could Wei Miu forget Xiaopingan? The moment she saw Xiaopingan, Wei Miu was surprised and happy. Thoughts suddenly came to her mind, and 2 blushes appeared on her cheeks. Before Xiaopingan could speak, another woman's voice rang out not far away, saying coldly, "Boy, you are so bold. You bullied people and came to the Donggang Inspectorate. I was just trying to settle the score with you." As soon as he finished speaking, Xiaopingan felt a fireball flying towards his head. The fireball was not very hot and not very big. If it landed on your head, it would not kill you, but the hair on your head would probably be burned away, and your head would be burned until the skin and flesh split open and it turned into a pig's head. What the hell is this? Xiaopinggan didn't expect that someone here would dare to throw a fireball at his head.